Welcome back, you guys. I hope you're just as excited for today's video because I'm going to show you guys my top 20 favorite spring palettes. So I went through my collection and I pulled out quite a few palettes that were either released in spring, have something to do with spring, or have spring color stories. And I narrowed it down to the top 20, and I'm excited to show them to you guys. We have some fun, colorful things coming, and sometimes it's exciting to love what we already have, you know? So let's go ahead and get into it. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Heather, and I really do love all things makeup, especially colorful makeup and indie brands, which is what you will see here in today's video. But if you happen to love those things too, I really hope you will choose to subscribe, stick around. And to those of you who have been subscribed, thank you for coming back. It really does mean a lot. But I'm excited to get into this video. I just got done with my single swatching video and it was so fun. I almost backed out of doing this video tonight because it's 11 o'clock at night. But I was like, you know what? This is about to be such a good time and there's no way I'm passing on it. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and dig in. So before we get started with today's video, I did want to say I got a few of these in PR, and when we get to it, I'll pop it up on the screen right here. That way you guys know. And I do have a code with some of these brands, which I will pop up down here. Some of my links down below may be affiliated, but if they are, they will always be marked with an asterisk, just so you guys know. But if you decide to shop my links or use my codes, I really do appreciate it. But this video is not even about that. It's about rediscovering what we already have in our collection and maybe getting re-excited to pull things out. I love being inspired by the seasons. I don't always do my makeup like I'll do a fall look in the middle of summer because I love like grungy, dirty, like mustardy fall vibes types of palettes. But sometimes I do like to draw some inspiration from the season, which is what I did today with this look. It was super fun to create. It was actually with the Poison Garden and the matte palette that has the neons. It's in the stack, so we will get to that, along with the Molten Chromes. And those are such like odd palettes to combine, but they created such a good freaking look. At least I think so. Now I have Captain Planet stuck in my head. You know, when he says, with our powers combined, we are Captain Planet. Living with ADHD is truly so fun sometimes. So I have to start with this palette. It's one of my favorites, especially from this brand, but it is the Blooming Basket from DD Signature. And I mean, it's literally in the title. The color story on this is fantastic. So the one I have has their like original matte formula, and they have updated it since then. But honestly, I didn't mind this formula either. I love the looks that I created with this. They were so fun. And I had such a good time. There's like so many different fun looks that you can create. But my favorite one that I did was with these shades and this one here with that deepen up in the outer corner. It was so like adventurous. I loved it so much. And really my favorite thing about this palette are the mattes. I like the shimmer formula, but I love the color story she created with the mattes. I just swatched a single that looked like that earlier, and I don't remember which one it was, but I instantly thought of it. But you can see like those are so shiny and beautiful and metallic, and I just love color stories like these. The undertones in this palette are really gorgeous. Like this yellow is like kind of dirty, and I love that. The undertone of the purple is gorgeous, and the same with this shade. These two together on the lid, like in the crease, doing a two-tone look would be so stunning. And you could do these two on the lid. I just think it's so fun, and it's such a great palette, one that I do plan on pulling out. Now this one I've had a few people ask me to do looks with, and I'm going to try to include it in a 4 looks for palettes video. if I can ever get my life together. Actually, the next 3 I would like to do that with, but it's the daily grind. This is one of my favorite palettes in my whole collection, and I really, really love Unearthly's formula, their shimmers and their mattes, but the thing that makes me love this so much is the color story. It is so freaking beautiful. I mean, this is totally fall as well, and I probably might still even include it in that video, but who doesn't love a fiery eye look in like spring and summer, which I do plan on doing a summer video as well, but this palette is so fun. I love it so much. So like that on the lid in the crease, I mean, you can even deepen up. Hold on, I'll show you a color story. Right now I just wanted to swatch a few shades. I got carried away, but I can't help myself. You guys know how I am. So let me do some pairings to show you guys like what I would do, or maybe some of looks that I have already created. I'm almost positive I have created a look with this before. I'll have to go back and like search my channel and see if I can find one. But if you've been here for a while, let me know if you can remember if I did or not. Because God knows I'll probably forget before I wash my face tonight. Okay, so one of my favorite combos with this palette is I love these two together. Obviously, that's such a gorgeous combo. So you could do like this all the way throughout the crease, deepened up with that, and you could do this on the lid. I mean, they look so beautiful in the palette beside each other. So that tells me they would look gorgeous on the eye. Now, one thing I did these in the back half of the crease, and then I went in and I set my eye with setting powder in this front half. That way, if I use a deeper shade, it would lighten it up a little bit. And I went in with this. And then on the lid, so let me swatch these out so you guys can kind of see them together and maybe like envision what I'm trying to say. If not, just bear with me, guys. So there those are. But on the lid, as for shimmers, I would totally do this green on the inner half. You guys know I love two-tone looks, so that's automatically what I die for. But me personally, I do like a little more depth on the outer half, and I do that with shimmers and mattes. So I would probably do this one, Motivate, because it's like that straight up orange, which is so gorgeous. And if you're like me and you do like to deepen up, you could use a little bit of this one, even layered. And then you just go back in with the orange until it blends like seamlessly. Like, that's such a gorgeous color story. I'm almost positive I have a reel over on Instagram if you guys want to check it out and see. I think I created this exact look. The reel is kind of funny. If you're like me, I have an odd sense of humor to some people. Kind of dark, but the weirdest things make me laugh. So when I got this palette, I was literally obsessed with it. I still really, really love it. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. But every time I would pull it out to create looks with it, Pretty Ricky, the Grind on Me song, is that Pretty Ricky? Please tell me it's not R. Kelly. Okay, it is Pretty Ricky. Whew, I was a little nervous there. But anyways, that song got stuck in my head. I was like, you know what? I'm going to create a reel and put that as the background music, and I did, and I laughed so hard. I'm pretty sure I have it here on YouTube as well on my like shorts, but I laughed so hard. I still laugh every time I look at it. I was like literally laughing so hard I had tears. So maybe it's not even that funny, but like I said, I laugh at the weirdest stuff for real. So this next one is from Unearthly Cosmetics as well, and I freaking love this palette. So I recently had an opportunity to do a bingo with this palette, and I wanted to so bad, but I was so like behind in life and with filming and editing and all of the things, so I actually didn't get to do it, but I am hoping I'll be able to pull it out soon. A bunch of other people that have channels did bingos with this palette. I'll link them all down below if you guys do want to check them out. I wish I could have done it because this is one of my top favorite palettes of all freaking time. This color story to me is a 10 out of 10. I love this so much. So one of my favorite combos to do with this palette is this corner, obviously. I love it so much. But do Seafoam here in the inner part, and then do Lagoon like throughout the crease. You could do Sea Star like down on the lower lash line, and then Seafoam like right in the inner part. Deepen up with Sea Urchin. No. Yeah, Sea Urchin, that would be really good. There's like so many different variations of fun you can do. And the way I look at stuff like this and I try to pick out like color stories and stuff is by the way a shimmer swatches. Like this is so beautiful. There's like some really gorgeous shifts in here. Let me turn my lights down. Do you see like that blue to pink? It's so freaking gorgeous. It almost looks a little gray as well, but for me, that makes me really want to pair like the craziest combos together and find ways to make them work. These two with Seafoam again in the inner corner. Seafoam for me is a perfect inner corner shade, and that's probably mostly the way I would use it, but not always. But that in the inner corner, that throughout the crease, that to deepen up, and then that on the lid. Even this, like this in the inner part of the lid, and then this out here. This would have been stunning with today's look even. This shade is so gorgeous as well. This is the shade Hydrospace, and it's so beautiful. It's like this beautiful, like very light lilac. The little gold like glitter reflects in it are truly so breathtaking. I love it so much. That's the shade Luminescence. I already showed you Hydrospace. I love Brine as well. That one's beautiful. But there's so many other like more obvious color combos you could do. These two in the crease with that on the lid, or do both of these shimmers on the lid would be pretty. These two in the crease would be pretty. Same with those. Like there's so many obvious ones, but I like to point out the ones that might not be as obvious. Those are my favorite looks to do. I just want to put this on the lid so bad with these two in the crease. That would be really pretty too, but I freaking love this palette and I could not recommend it more. It's so good. Okay, so last from Unearthly Cosmetics, and this baby was literally made for spring. It's giving beachy vibes, and I love it. This is like the most beautifully curated beachy palette in my opinion. I'm telling you, Unearthly is freaking killing it. They're like shimmers aren't as shifty as they used to be, but they work for way more people than they used to. They're more hooded eye friendly, and they're still like so reflective, and you have those more subtle shifts that are really stunning. Like this shade, Sprout, is so glittery and just gorgeous. Freaking takes my breath away. They've just really been killing it lately. They have such an incredible formula. One of the easiest matte formulas to work with. It is not powdery. It's not like fallouty. You don't get a lot of kick up with them, at least not in any that I've tried. And I've bought every palette from them, with the exception of some that I've gotten in PR. Within the last 2.5 years, I have not missed a palette. I love them so much. They're one of my top favorites. Their shimmers are so good. And this palette is so fun. There's like so much you can do with it. I love like this quad right here. I think that is so freaking gorgeous. These two together with this. These two in the inner part of the crease. The green in the outer part would be so stunning, especially with any of those on top of the lid. They're so shiny and just glossy and wet looking, and such like High Impact Shine. There you go. You can really see it once I turn those studio lights off. It's so beautiful. This is another one of those palettes though that's really effortless because you could follow the quads, you could stick to the rows, like start here and then this one, that one, that one. They're all beautiful and it works all the way down. I just really, really love this. It's so stunning. Okay, so Simply Posh does not have my favorite formula. They're just not a favorite for me, but I don't think they're bad either. I'm just saying because I know a lot of you guys already know that, but this color story sucks me in so hard. I bought this during fall when it restocked, and it's the Citrus Punch. This is such a me color story, such a me palette. I haven't gotten to play with it a whole lot, but every look that I've created with it has been so bright and fun. My only issue with this one is I wish it went a little deeper, but it's not made for that. And it's so obvious by the other things, and it's not hard to bring other stuff in either, but if I'm being nitpicky. But look how beautiful those mattes are. I will say their last palette seemed to be a lot more like kick-uppy in the pan than, and I got a lot of fallout with that one, more so than any of their other ones. I don't know like what was going on there, but this is so beautiful. And this one is so easy to create looks with. You could do like fruit themed looks like how they have in the packaging, which is super cute. And that's another way I like to pair colors. Like seeing these three colors together are so beautiful on the packaging. It just says, hey, that might create a really good look. And I really feel inspired by this color story. Not to mention you could make one hell of a sunset eye with this palette. This one is so good. It makes my freaking eyes cross. Oh my god, I love this so much. This is the weirdest color story I have ever seen, and I love it so freaking much. So, let's talk favorite ways to use this palette. I love these two together. I mean, don't get me wrong, love these together, but my favorite one is Starfish in the inner corner. Now, just to be transparent, these are kick-uppy mattes, but they're so freaking good that I don't even care. They're so good. They blend well and everything. I would like to see them maybe reformulate the mattes. Usually when a matte formula is like that, it's more easy to work with, especially if you're not someone who likes to spend a lot of time on blending. But I love doing this. When you use it with a white base, it's true to color. It's so beautiful. And then I like to put this in the back half of the crease, deepen up with this shade Undertow. There we go. You can see it better. It's a lot brighter when you use it on a like concealer or something. That's a dry swatch. But this shade on the back half of the lid, like, do you see how like bright and cobalty that is? It's so stunning. Makes me so excited. And then on the front half, you already know I'm about to go in with this orange. It's one of my favorite shades in my whole collection. Honestly, let's put some on the eye because this would have been so good today with this look, and it's been way too long since I've used this palette. Oh, it's so good. I might take this one with me to Florida. That could be really fun because there's like a lot of like really cool combos you can get out of a palette like this. But look at that. Oh, it's so fiery, guys. And if you like go back and forth between the shades enough, like keep going back over the center with the blue and then that orange, eventually you do get that blend. And do you see how freaking gorgeous those look together? Look at that orange shade over top of the blue. You could layer, and that is so stunning too. Honestly, like do a blue crease and then just like put this shade Title all over the lid and then go over it with the orange, and that is freaking to die for. Actually, You guys know I've been going nuts over that shade, Stray Cat from DIEVERUNE Cosmetics. That is what this looks like. It's so freaking good. I love it so much. So if you have this in your collection, I recommend pulling it out, trying that combo. And honestly, you can do the same thing. I dirtied up my shade a little bit. I'm going to have to clean that off. But you can do the same thing with the green and the orange, using the orange in the crease, or at least the front half, this in the outer half, deepened up with this shade, and then make these two work on the lid together. It's so stunning. This is such a freaking fun palette. I almost picked up the other ones, but if I'm being honest with myself, those color stories aren't really me, so I decided to skip on them, but I am so freaking glad I got this. This is one of the best palettes from last year. So freaking good. And then the Dragon Fruit palette from CLIONADH as well. This palette is so beautiful. It was my first eyeshadow, it was my first time ever trying the brand, and I loved it so much. I still love it. This one is so beautiful. It doesn't have as many special shades in it as I would like, but when they do a metallic, they do a metallic. Now that one has like green glitter reflex in it. My finger is like black and blue. I literally just went and washed my hands because I saw like eyeshadow under my nails and I cringed. I'm recovered. But that shade is really pretty. It has like those orange glitter reflex in it. And then you have the shade Dragon Fruit, which is so pretty as well. Very, very reflective. And I love this shade Bubbles. I got so much use out of this palette. I broke the original packaging and they sent me the new packaging that they made. But I used to use this all the time because I didn't have any kind of special shades like this in my collection at the time. So when I got this, I lost my freaking mind over this. I used it in almost every single look. It was so fun. But I feel like this is such a perfect palette for springtime. And honestly, I never tried Dragon Fruit until this palette. It made me like want to look into it, and it's not bad. So who's surprised to see ARTTITUDE Cosmetics in here? I have a feeling Maneater is going to be in my summer one. I cannot wait to freaking get that palette in. So, the ones I brought out are METAMORPH, which is what started my love for this brand. Ink and Roses, which is their newest launch. It was for Valentine's Day. Still, if you stick to the more florally side, like the flowers, it still goes so well with spring in my opinion, honestly. But my favorite one out of the three is this one, the Vintage. This is such a fun spring palette. I mean, it could totally be fall as well. But if you take like out these colors or this back row right here, it's spring and it's so beautiful. You have gorgeous pastels and like all these more flower leaning types of shades that are super fun. This is such a fun palette. Loved the looks that I did with this. Actually, one of them I really love for spring, and it was using like the peach and green together with the orange, and it was so freaking pretty. Highly recommend checking out that video because it was such a good time. But like I said, you could totally use this for fall as well if you're someone who only does looks by like inspiration, by season, then totally it could be fall. But depending on how you look at it, it could be spring as well. Even the cover is giving spring. Actually, it kind of looks like it's giving Greece. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just so excited about Greece. I'm seeing it everywhere. But again, with the Ink and Roses, this is such like a romantic version of spring. And I think it's so beautiful. These two together are one of my favorite combos of all time. You guys know I love like green and pink, green and mauve, green and purple. I love doing those. I love these two together as well. They're so pretty. They're so beautiful. This is such a fun palette. So reflective and just shiny goodness. Let's do a few swatches. Look at them. They have one of my favorite formulas. They're just to die for. I cannot wait to see like what else they come out with. I wish I had like the inside scoop, because I get so excited when I think about what they're coming out with next that I literally have to tell myself to calm down. I love them. We are halfway through. We have 10 more palettes left to go. And the next brand I want to talk about is Adept. There are so many palettes I could have put from Adept into this spring edition, but I didn't let myself. I had like the Minka in here. And what else was there? The Unity palette. Like, there's a few more I definitely could have put in this, but I didn't want to overdo it. So I stuck with Cyborg Choir, which is probably one of my new favorite palettes in my collection, and the Element 115, which is really good as well. Out of the two, my love is this one. So this one does have those more like dark moody mattes, but I love that no matter what time of year it is. And I feel like when it's paired with like this bright yellow and these gorgeous bright shimmers, it's so good for spring. I could swatch this whole palette, but it's midnight and I want to go to bed soon, so I'm not going to let myself. But you know, I have to swatch some of it. I love this so much. I cannot wait to get their new palette in. It was supposed to be here the other day, but it's behind. So that's the shade Binary Beat. Oh, it's so pretty. I love the hollows. That's the shade Pixelated Pause. Or Pixelated Pulse. My bad. And then we have Digital Harmony. This is like a freaking palette packed full of hollows. And nothing makes me more excited. Nothing. Ooh, and this one, Cybernetic Spark. Cyber Symphony is good as well. The whole freaking palette's good, but... So this shade would be so pretty with like yellow in the inner corner. And then something like this blue on the outer corner. Maybe like use a neon green like around the edges with this on the lid. And then this in the inner corner would be so stunning. I would love to create that look. That would be a blast. Of course, I have to show you what they look like with the lights off. Do you see like the hollow shiftiness? They're so freaking gorgeous. They have one of the best shimmer formulas of all time. And I'm here for it. That top shade gets me, but I don't know, it's the hollows really just take my breath away. You know that shade that I talk about a lot in this palette, Dissolve, the yellow? It's kind of like the yellow that's in this palette. I love them both very, very much. This is such a good one, though. I love it. I mean, I said it 752 times. You guys are probably sick of it. Like, you would think I had a broader vocabulary because I literally read all the time. But it's like when I swatch this stuff, I lose all train of thought. I can't remember words. I get so freaking excited. I'm literally like so covered in glitter. You can't even see it. It was raining glitter in my swatch video and I was just living my best life. But now let's talk about this one. So same reason, same concept as the last, except for with this one, you do have more of those bright pastels, which are freaking beautiful. But honestly, if I had to pick a palette, it would definitely be this one. The shimmers in this one are really gorgeous too, but they are nothing compared to that other palette. However, this shade looks really stunning. And it really is. And so does this one. Weather Balloon. Both are stunning. These two in the crease, or even these two with that on the lid, would be such a gorgeous look. Swatching my palettes makes me want to use them so bad. Which is like, I can understand how that could be helpful when you have like FOMO over a new release. Because every time I swatch palettes, I end up like dying to use them. I actually started my singles video yesterday and I finished it today. But when I did my makeup today, I used like all the stuff I was excited about. Well, some of the stuff I was excited about. That shade is really pretty. It's called Gimbal Video. That shade is really pretty. These are gorgeous, but I just think the other one is better and more exciting in my opinion. But I guess it just depends on like what type of shimmers you like and what your favorite colors are and stuff. these two would also be like really, really pretty together as well. So let's talk about some Bella Beauty Bar. The Pastel Garden. I mean, they just redid this. They redid the packaging and it's even prettier now. I didn't realize that this wasn't magnetic though until someone commented it in one of my videos. I really thought it was, but I checked. It is definitely not magnetic. And I'm surprised they didn't make it magnetic once they revamped it and stuff. But maybe they didn't because where it is such a large palette, it would have made it too expensive or something. I don't know, but I've spent the last 3 days creating looks with this palette. Not today, but the 3 days prior, and I've had so much fun. This is such an incredible, it's such a dream. Honestly, I thought for me that it would be just a really good companion palette because you guys know I love the drama, but I loved every single look I've done with this. These shimmers are so freaking spectacular. The mattes are so pretty. What was it that I did yesterday? It was so shocking. Okay, so I think I did Iris in the outer corner, and I did these two greens on the inner corner, and the plan was to put these on the lid, but I deepened up with this shade and it turned it like this really gorgeous cool tone blue. It was the coolest thing ever. I was so in love with that look. You guys will see it if you watch my singles video. I had so much fun. It was such a blast. This is such a good one. I could not recommend it more. Today I do have these on the eyes with the Poison Garden, but I love the neons in this. So I do like a neutral eye with a pop of color every now and then, but I wish that these weren't here and they just kept the neons and put this in a more curated palette. I feel like that could have been way better, and it probably, I don't know, maybe it's just me and that's why I feel that way, but I wish, especially because they're so warm leaning, not all of them, but most of them are, I don't know. Today I went to use it and I was just going to use these two and I was like, nah, I'm not into those mattes. But these freaking neons are fire. And if you like the color story of this, you will love the mattes. They're great quality, but it's just not a me kind of thing. I would keep the black and the white, but take out the browns personally. But I freaking love this palette and I think it did so good with today's look. And this one stays on my desk because I use it all the time. This is the Molten Chromes, and these shades are so special, so like shifty, shimmery, delicious. I love them so much. So I'll show you the ones I have on my lid, and it actually is all 4 of these. I did some layering and all of that fun stuff to try to get the color I wanted. The shade Heat is so good. But so is Melt. Molten is a hollow. It's so pretty. But Dissolve is probably the most used shade in my whole entire collection. I know sometimes some brands will let you like buy individual shades. I don't know if they do that, but if they do, I could not recommend these 4 more. They're my favorite. The other 2 are beautiful as well, but these ones are insane. There you go. They're so freaking pretty. That top one is way more yellow than it's appearing with the lights off, but it's so beautiful. In there you can kind of see it more true to color, but I love that palette so much. I also had to bring out the Secret Garden. So I went nuts over this palette last year. The looks I created were so beautiful. I used this in so many different ways. And in this instance, I do like the neutrals. I had fun with those. I did such a fun look last summer with the neutrals on top. And then this green in the inner corner with, I can't remember what shimmer. I think it was this shimmer on the lid, and it was so freaking beautiful. This is a neutral hollow, and you do not see a lot of those. At least I haven't in the palettes I've bought, but I have not seen hardly any shades like that. It's so pretty. So pretty. So glittery. But I could go on and on about this one. This shade Flora is so bright and like fuchsia. It's beautiful. Oh, and Oasis. I try not to swatch this one that much because it's really low and I don't want it to run out. But, oh, look at it. It's so pretty. The shifts on that one, it's like very, very blue, but very, very like bright green as well. Secrecy made me lose my freaking mind. It's another hollow. Look how pretty those are. That blue one just takes my breath away, but they're just, so many of them are like so beautiful. I wish the blue shift would show up on that green in the middle because it's so pretty when it does. But even without it, it looks so stunning. I just love these. Look at those hollows though, especially this one. I just love this one with my whole heart. I still want to mix this with the Pastel Garden. I think that would be so fun. I almost did that today, but I went against it. I love using the pink and green together, even the bright pink and green. They're so fun. These two together are so fun with these two on the lid. It's very monochromatic, but it's still like so beautiful. Okay, so next we have Gourmande Girls. And I have to talk about the Nueva Vida. So, the thing about this palette that some people don't like, because it's very hit or miss, is actually the thing that I love about it the most, which is, you know, it's a preference thing, but it is a very chaotic color story. And I love it. These freaking neons are so gorgeous. I wish they would show up like true to color in video, but for some reason they just don't. Let me see. Now they do. That is what this looks like. It's so freaking stunning. I just lose my mind over this. I've actually never been able to get this to show up before, but I was using my phone to film when I reviewed this palette. But I love this so much. It's such a fun palette. Every time I pull it out, I have such a good time with it. I love using these two shades together. But with neons, like, I've heard people say they had issues with the neons, but I haven't personally. But one thing I have like learned about neons is they're not blending shades. You have to pack them on and leave them. You cannot blend a neon. It will get patchy. And I think this formula is fantastic, especially when used in that way. But I've had so much fun with this. I think it's so freaking gorgeous. And I'm so happy to have it in my collection. I did pick this one up. Like, they're so beautiful. The shade Cooper. Gourmande Girls has another one of my like favorite formulas. But you see, if you try to blend it over that, it just kind of disappears. You can't do that. It has to... which it's not going to stick anyways because my hand is dry, but you kind of just have to tap. To show you what I mean, I've added some concealer to my hand because you don't put shadow on a dry base anyways. And if you're trying to do neons on a dry base, that definitely won't work. But I'm going to put some more of that blue, which that shade doesn't really go. So we'll do this pink. Or magenta. And I'll just do like a blob of it on the hand. Like so. And I'll even do some blending on the edges. Try to soften this up a little. And then go in with the flat brush. This is one of the duo brushes from Sigma. But I'm just tapping on the edge. And do you see how much more like impactful that is? And you can just keep tapping. And you have to just tap until it kind of blends itself just by layering. And that's the way to get them to work. You can't like blend these at all. But with all of that being said, hopefully you didn't mind the little demonstration. It's helpful for some people because I like... almost never bought a Blend Bunny palette ever again because I had such a bad time working with the Surge. But it wasn't the palette, it was me, and I just didn't realize it. And it turned me off from them for a while. But thankfully, I have figured it out thanks to people that I watch on YouTube. I think it was Angelica that made a video about it, and I saw it and I was like, and it turns out she was correct. The next one, this is the first palette I ever got in PR from Gourmande Girls, and it was last summer. I was so excited, but it's the Calavera, and it's so freaking gorgeous. I love this palette. I think the shimmers in here are fantastic, and I feel like this is a palette where you could do looks all year. I always say that every time I pull it out. It's just so beautiful. You have these beautiful pastels. The shimmers are breathtaking as well. This is when she like really started getting into these more marbled shades. Like, do you see that? That's so fiery and gorgeous and beautiful and fun, and I love it. My camera so rudely shut off, but I did swatch some shades from this palette. It's so freaking beautiful. I love those two bottom shimmers especially. You can see like the holographic glitter in that one. It's so freaking pretty. Try to get my fat head out of here. It's so beautiful. This is such a good palette though, and it makes me so happy to know that so many other people love it as much as I do. And again, I just feel like this palette is so good for all year. It's the pastels for me though, and these bright shades up here that make it so fun. The pink too. Again, with the gray, you could mix any of these shades with this gray and it's going to be so beautiful. Highly recommend. And the last two palettes that I want to talk about are two of my favorites of all freaking time, and they're from Cosmic Beauty. I drew a blank. It's late. It's like 12:30 now. I'm slow, guys. I keep taking breaks. I'm lazy, but not really. I'm just listening to Charm, which is part of the Crave series. It's like book 4, I think, or maybe book 5. It's so good. I can't stop myself, and I keep taking breaks to do that, and it's getting later and later and later. But I freaking love these palettes. So this was my first, and I still struggle with trying to figure out which one I love more. I don't know. I just ranked them and I don't remember which one I even said, because honestly these two are like so interchangeable. I love them both with my whole heart. They're so freaking good together. And they're so good on their own, but they both give spring for me. I feel like you could create such gorgeous looks if you have one or the other. I do know a bunch of you guys recently picked up a bunch of their palettes during the restock, and I'm so excited for you guys to get to experience what I love so much. Ooh, and I know ARTTITUDE just did a big restock too. And I've had like 2 or 3 people comment on my video with the Blend Bunny palette that just came out, saying you wish you could get your hands on Sickly Sweet. They are restocking it. They made a post over on Instagram and said something about there was a few shades that they could no longer get the pigments for, so they had to change them a little bit, but it's still the same palette, just some of the shades are slightly different. But I did want to let you guys know about that in case you're one of the ones that's been waiting for a restock. Honestly, I might even grab it too. I might talk myself out of it because God knows I don't need any more, but I wish I would have bought that when it first launched. It's one of those palettes that has wormed its way in my head. These two colors together are so fun. I love them so much. Even these two in the outer corner with this in the crease in the big front, or that one in the front is really, really pretty. You could do this on the lid. Anything. It's so beautiful. This is such a fun palette. I will say their formula has upped in quality. The mattes feel the same great quality that they've always had, but I do feel like their shimmers are more impactful now, and I'm here for it. But these are really, really beautiful as well. I don't know. This one might be my favorite out of the two. I always go back and forth, but every time I look at this, I fall so in love. There's like so many color combos here. These 3 together are beautiful. Those 3 are beautiful. Like you could do even just one shimmer like this in the crease, maybe even deepen up with Fig. Do Muse on the lid, that would be pretty. Or Antique on the lid would be really pretty. This has the most gorgeous, like, it's like sage sage green gray like glitter flip, but it has like this beautiful mauve base that makes these three pair so well together. If you put that on the lid, it just brings those colors together. And that's my favorite thing about these shifty types of shadows. Like Ambient has like this really light soft green flip to it, which really makes me want to pair it with these four. Do you see what I mean? Like, they're so freaking gorgeous, and they would make such a beautiful eye look. So beautiful. But you guys, that is it. Those are the 20 palettes I wanted to talk about. I'm so glad I pushed through and we did this video because I truly had so much freaking fun. Honestly, this would be so good for summer too. I just got this in BoxyCharm. I haven't tried it yet. But it's from Ofra, The Head in the Clouds. I wanted this when it launched. But the colors of these blushes and highlighters are so freaking gorgeous. Honestly, it would be so perfect. I'm going to have to try it out though and let you guys know. It's really weird though. This is like sponge. I've never seen anything quite like that. But these are magnetic too, so you could pull them out and like create your own like full face palette. That would be awesome if you're into that kind of thing. But I had so much fun. I do want to do like my spring favorites throughout my whole collection and talk about those in a video soon. I can't wait to get into that. However, that will not be tonight, but it is a fun thing to think about, especially when it comes to the blush. And I have some really good like foundation favorites, highlight favorites, bronzer favorites. I get to finally pull my high temp bronzers back out, but here I am giving spoilers. But I had so much fun, you guys, and I hope you did too. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. It really does help me out. And let me know what your favorite spring palettes are. What do you have that you're super excited to get? Is there anything here that you've been wanting to pick up? I would love to hear your thoughts. But if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will stick around. And until next time, bye.